Now I want to attach my waistband, so I have to, from this long piece, I have to make like a circle. So I connect it beautiful side to beautiful side. As you can see, I pin it. This short piece, and I connect it with straight stitch. Again, seam allowance is 1 centimeter. I have line here, you can follow this line, or you just can make stitch with distance 1 centimeter from the edge. By the way, I finished the back stitch on my skirt, and this is how my skirt looks from the outside. And again, don't forget to press your seam and seam allowance with iron. And this is how my skirt looks from the right side. So this is front because it's one detail, and on my back I have 2 details. So it looks like a skirt already, right? We're almost done with it. So I went with straight stitch here. I didn't go with zigzag because this waistband will be, so the idea that it goes like this, and it will be this high, so it will be not that high. So everything will be inside and not visible, so we don't care about this, but the only thing that you have to make it flat again. Now I take my skirt, and my waistband here has to be the same as my waist on my skirt, and we need to connect my waistband beautiful side to beautiful, like this, beautiful to beautiful, to the top of my skirt. The only thing that we have this stitch, and normally we don't want it to be in a very visible side on the front, on the middle, so the rule is that you try to make it less visible and you just make sure it goes to your back. So I have the middle back here, and I just connect it, make sure these 2 stitches are connected so it's less visible. Yes, you see, so this is the stitch, and this one, beautiful side to beautiful side. I make sure that the edges are matching, and I pin it, and you pin it around your waist. The simple way to spread everything in the right way, so we pin the back, and now find middle. This is middle, so if I hold this one and I pull like this, this will be middle, and I also try to find middle of my skirt, so this will be middle of my skirt. So I connect middle of my skirt with middle of my waist, and I pin it. This way you will, if, like for example, waist is a bit shorter or longer, in this way it will be more like accurate, and you will, if you have a little bit extra, sometimes it happens like in your waistband, and then you will spread it between the layers and it will be okay. So I put more pins and make sure that my waist, the edges match. Yes. And I will go with straight stitch with distance 1 centimeter from the edge. Okay, so I pinned it around, and I go with straight stitch here, distance 1 centimeter as usually. The other thing that I want to show you, because we have like a circle, it's not easy to use sewing machine. So what you can do, you can remove this part It's common for all the sewing machine, and you kind of wear your skirt like this, and it's around this part of your sewing machine. And now I go with straight stitch. I want to show you one situation that happened to me, so you know what to do if it happens to you. So I had a little bit thread left, and just in the middle of my stitch, it stopped, like the thread finished, and I didn't finish my stitch. So what I have to do now, I took another thread and I thread the machine, and now I just start a bit earlier, like 1 centimeter before the end. I do back stitch and I continue till the end. This is normally what you have to do. Try to get in the same line, forward, back, and continue. So I went with straight stitch around. I didn't do the zigzag. You can do this, but it's not necessary because everything will be inside of my waistband. So now I make it flat again a little bit. I iron from the top. And now let's turn it inside out. Now I have to iron seam allowance. I have to press seam allowance to the top of my skirt. So not like this, but it has to go to the top, okay? Make sure also you stretch it. So no fabric folded. Use seam. Now I turn it inside out and it looks flat. You see, this is the stitch that connects skirt to the waist, and my waist will be like this, and we will have elastic inside because we learn how to make elastic waistband today. So my next step will be, I have to go with zigzag around, only one layer, only the top, and I also have to go with zigzag at the bottom, and we can hem this to fold it like this. So first we go with zigzag, only one layer, not together, not connecting these two, but only one layer, a circle, and on the top, okay? So I went with zigzag here and here, at the top and at the bottom. Next, what I have to do, I need to measure my my waistband. I think it's 8 centimeters. So my waist has to be actually 2 times like this, and it will be 4. So it will be 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters. And I want to understand how to fold it correctly. So I have to fold it like a lot or a little bit. So we don't make anything like, oh, let's do like this. We have to calculate everything and make enclosures, okay? So I need to find middle of my waistband, and it will be the edge of my fold. This is the idea. This is what I want to do. And because I have seam allowance here 1 centimeter, so I can measure like 4 centimeters here or 4 centimeters from here. And because I have stitch here with distance 1 centimeter, from this stitch it will be 3 centimeters. So you can measure from both sides, but so 4 centimeters from here or 3 centimeters from here, okay? And if your waistband is different, not 8 centimeters, the measurements will be of course different. So just mark where I have 4 centimeters. Just I don't draw the whole line, just make marks with some distance, like 7 centimeters, I think. Okay. And now, so where I have these marks, I need to have fold. You see, this is my mark. This is my mark, and it has to be fold. So now I pin my waistband in this position. This is fold, yes, and I pin it here where I have stitch. I will explain you why we pin in this area later. So seam allowance goes on top. Yes, we ironed it on top. It's flat, and we pin it like this. Okay. Why did I pin in this area? Because we will attach this waistband now by going with straight stitch between these two details. So we have to go in this old stitch between these two. We have to try to get in this line, and that's why we pinned this area, so the fabric will not move, okay? The other thing, that we have elastic inside, and we need to leave a little bit open to make sure we can pull through elastic. So I will mark for myself, so that, for example, I start from here, just to myself not to forget. I start from here, I go with straight stitch, make circle, and I stop a bit here. So this will be open, right? So from here, circle, and I stop a little bit before, that this will be open. So this is my mark where I have to start, and I have to stretch this out because I have small fold here, so it's like it's on my way. I want to see this stitch between them, so I have to stretch it out. And it's not easy for beginners. Oh wait, I have zigzag. Don't forget to switch to straight stitch. It's hard for beginners a little bit, but you will learn how to do this. So try to go slowly, because you need to go really between the layers. And don't forget backstitch. Stretch it out and go slowly. So I did this part, and now I need elastic. So elastic has to be definitely smaller than your waist, because at least 5 millimeters, better 1 centimeter, because it has to go through this waistband, and if it's absolutely the same or bigger, it just will not be able to go through this space, okay? So it has to be smaller, and of course it has to be shorter than this waistband, because the goal is to gather this part, right? So when you do something for yourself, how to understand how much you need, you just take elastic and you wrap it around your waist, and you like try to understand what is for you, not too tight and not too loose. So make it a little bit tight, because a skirt has weight and it will kind of pull down like your elastic, so don't make it too loose. Make sure it's gonna hold your skirt. Okay, so let's imagine that we need that much, so it's a bit smaller than the skirt. I cut this out, and we need safety pin, this one. I attach it to the end, and now this space that we didn't close, I go through this and I move my safety pin in my waist inside. Sometimes it can open inside, but it's okay, you can close it. It's a bit difficult, but it is possible to do. And now I made full circle and I go out. So maybe make it a bit longer. Okay, I go out and I can remove my safety pin. Okay, now I have to connect them together, but make sure that your elastic is not twisted inside, so check if it goes flat, like just try to feel how it goes. Is it twisted or no? To make it flat. Okay. Okay. So like this is good. And now we have to connect them, but not like this. We have to connect it flat. So one above another, like this. We don't need anything extra volume, you know, inside. So I put one above another, and let's pin it like this, because our stitch will go like this. So again, we pin cross to the future stitch, and I just connect it with straight stitch or zigzag, but straight stitch is also okay. And I go forward and back several times, because it's important that it's connected and will not open inside, right? And I use white thread. It's okay because the whole elastic will be inside. It will not be visible, so the color is not important. So I went forward and back several times, and we are done. We can cut out this, and I now can stretch everything out. And the last what I have to do, we have to close this opening. So I pin this part, I make sure it's flat first of all, and I pin it, and I go again, I go from this side because I see where my this previous stitch, and only from this side I can understand where is my stitch, where I have to go. And I close this again, back stitch, straight, back stitch.